Hello, everybody. This is Dibblerulez, and this is the first.
Hello, everybody. This, sorry. You do your thing. That's my show thing.
This is the first in a series that I'd like to start called Dibblogs, and I just talk about random stuff with whoever I can grab off the bottom of my friend barrel.
Wow. All right. I guess that's all right. Cool. Great.
My friend barrel is actually very shallow. I don't really have too many in there, so this one's he was floating up at the top, and he was like, "Hey, I can help you out with
Yeah, there we
this."
go. There we go. That's a little bit better. I was floating at the top. That's
There we go. Anyway, this is Dakota, and he has his own YouTube stuff.
yes, I do.
I'll let you talk about that.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, my name's Dakota. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Two Player Couch. It is a Let's Play channel, and we pride ourselves on being very different from other Let's Players. So if you're tired of the monotony that is YouTube being flooded with random people making fart and dick jokes, come over to my channel where we do fart and dick jokes, but they're different.
They're classy.
But they're classy. Yeah. But yeah, we have a few other channels, but that's primarily the one that we're putting all of our effort into currently. So if you guys could go check that out, that'd be fantastic.
So yeah, I guess today we'll start off talking about this little anime. I'm not too sure if anybody's ever heard of it. Came out recently, but what I'd say about like what, a year or so ago.
What are we talking about?
Attack on Titan.
I never heard of it.
Oh, see,
Is that like a new soap opera?
Probably.
Like,
Well, see, essentially what happens is, and I came into it because a lot of people were like, "Hey, you should check this out." So
yeah.
I just kind of like, all right, well, click on this button here, and now it's magically on my computer forever. So I watched it before it even had an English release. I watched it all in Japanese, and essentially, humanity has been brought to the point where they're all living behind these walls in fear of these giant naked creatures without genitalia.
Okay, now it sounds weird when you say it like that.
Yeah, I know.
But it's terrifying.
Yeah, and
Every time you see one of these things, it's terrifying.
yeah,
If you're not completely like for a while there, I'm not even gonna lie, I was afraid to step out of my house because I was like, I'm like 20 minutes away from like seeing like one of these things like towering over me, like just the thought of something that large and they move really fast.
yeah, and they always had like this like face, like they were always like they were either grinning or like had like this really distraught look. They
Yeah.
never had like a calm like
Just these terrifying faces, and then you get eaten.
yep, and then they eat people.
And it's not even like oh, swallowed whole. It's like they take their time eating you,
Yep, they'll just
and
like bite you in
just
half.
piece by piece, and you're just like slowly getting digested. It's just terrifying. This is terrifying. There's even a part. Are we going spoilers?
Yeah, spoiler. Oh yeah, guys, spoilers. Don't. If you haven't seen Attack on Titan yet and you'd like to do that, you might want to just skip over most of this.
Okay, there's a part. There's a part. It's like 4 or 5 episodes in, right?
Yeah.
And it's like our main character's been training his entire life to fight these
Yeah.
things, and you're like, great. And it's like 5 episodes, nothing's happened really, and they're just kind of like building up the characters and stuff. And then finally, it happens. Titans attack the city, and it's their job to stop them. And you're like, this is gonna be great. We're gonna watch these guys, and they're just bah, 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 and cutting Titans' heads off and stuff. They go out to fight, literally like 30 seconds. It's like 30 seconds. The main character goes flying and they've got these really awesome belts that fire metal like bands that pull them and
Yeah,
they fly through
the
the
3D
air, and
maneuver gear, I think is what it
oh
was
my
called.
god, and it's like it's literally 30 seconds of him and his party is they're like flying through the air and you're like, yeah, let's go kick some Titan ass. And then what happens? He gets bitten like immediately, like like I can't even. I'm so excited because this is such a great series. But like they show it. It's like a profile shot. He's like flying like this, right? And there's like you see the buildings, and he's flying past the buildings, and all of a sudden, like really quick, just for like a split second, there's a Titan in between two buildings, and he comes out and just snaps him with his
Yep.
and and his leg gets bitten off.
And
It just gets chopped off, and then he goes and like slams into a bunch of buildings and lands onto
a roof,
somewhere.
And he's just laying
he
there.
At his leg, and his leg's just gone. It's just gone. And I'm like, is that what this series is? Like, did they just do that to the main character? He just doesn't have a leg anymore? And I was like, this is gonna be the greatest thing. And then all these main characters start dropping like flies.
Yeah.
And then another main character is about to get attacked and eaten by one of these Titans, and the main character like saves him last second, jumps into the mouth of the Titan, pulls him out, throws him out.
Yeah.
He's like holding his hand out. He's like they're like really close to grabbing each other's hands so he can pull him out of the mouth. And then the Titan bites down, and the main character loses his arm. So now he's like the arm flies off, and you're like, the main character not only doesn't have a leg, he now doesn't have an arm, and he just got swallowed whole by one of these creatures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is and of course, like, it only takes them like an episode or two before they like completely backtrack all of that. They're like, no, don't worry about it, that didn't happen.
Yeah. The main character's name is Aaron Jaeger. I guess it takes place in some sort of German. I love this. I love the theme song. Dude, the music in that series is just the best.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the character that everybody's like, oh, he's gonna be something someday, but he's just kind of like a pussy, and that's Armin. Like, he's just kind of there, and like everybody, like, we know he's not useless, but uh-oh. Well, that's interesting. Really? In the middle of the recording Skype, you're just gonna do this? You're gonna dick me over like this? All that time. All that time. Wow.
All right.
Yep, that happened.
What happened?
Skype was like, well, you know what? You're in the middle of actually trying to do something, so now I'm gonna fuck you over and hang up on you. That was fun. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Armin. Like, he's a character where everybody, he's that typical kind of like, I'm useless, I can't do anything kind of character. But like, a lot of people like him. A lot of people think, I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot about that series that I love. And specifically, I really like it's got that Game of Thrones mentality where they don't care, they'll kill a main character.
Yeah.
Specifically, what they like to do is they'll like to get really, really wide shots with the main characters really far off in the background, and they're like little dots. And you see a Titan come in, and they'll punt the little black dot, and you don't think anything of it. And then like 3 episodes later, someone just in passing is like, yeah, that little black dot was a main character, he's dead now. And you're like, they don't care. They'll just kill a dude on a whim, and sometimes they'll have a dude in the background that you can kind of make out, and it looks like a main character, and he gets eaten, and you're like, oh no. But then later you see that main character, and you're like, oh good, that was just the guy that looked like him. Oh god, thank you.
There was like, maybe out of the like, what was there, like maybe 10 main characters in that training camp. Like, all but like 7, or all but like 3 or maybe 5, at least half of them die.
Oh dude, so many of them die. And then they have like this really strong, scene where all the people get to choose which faction of the army they go into.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 3 of them. One protects they're like the King's Guard or whatever.
Yep.
And then
they live like a life of luxury, and they don't really have to do shit.
Yeah. And those are all the guys who get like the best scores in the school. So like they go through the classes and the training and stuff, and whoever gets the best scores gets to go and be in the King's Guard, and they don't have to do anything. They don't have to like risk their lives or anything. Then there is a second group that protects the city, and then there's a third group that specifically their job is to just go out and fight titans and do missions outside of the wall, and that's like the super dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
And all the main character, there's this really strong scene where the main character's like, I don't care that I'm in the top of my class. I knew that the reason that I joined this group was that I was going to go and join the group that goes outside of the wall, because I want to figure out more things about my dad, and like I want to get revenge for my mother, and like all this stuff. And all the other main characters that were friends with him that just so happened to be fairly high up in the ranking of the school too, they're like, we could all just go and live a life of luxury and not have to worry about dying ever. But the main character's like, no, I have to do this. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't just be a pushover. I did this for a reason. And like, there's this really powerful scene where they all decide, even though they don't want to, they're like, we gotta go with them. Like, so when the guy's like, you should join my faction of the army, and he gives this really dramatic speech, and he's like, anyone who's afraid of death should leave, and anyone who's willing to look death in the face should stay. And like a bunch of people immediately leave, like a huge mob of people leave. And like the main characters start to leave, and then they're like, I can't do it. And they turn around and they're all standing together, and it's like a really nice and awesome scene.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of them die, but whatever.
Yeah. So like, main character gets eaten alive.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just like, oh no, what the fuck? And then like,
I forgot about the part where they actually show him inside of it.
Yeah.
And he's just like waist deep in just like dudes.
Yeah.
And it's like
they don't digest anything. There's just dead dudes down there.
Yeah, and it's real gross. And like on the other side of the stomach, there's this woman, and she's like crying for like her family and stuff, and she doesn't want to die. And I'm like, this is so messed up.
This is hell. This is
and the main character's just like, is this the rest of my life? Do I live out the next 20 minutes of my life just sitting here, like in the dark, covered?
The way you're saying it, I can just see him going, fuck.
This is my life now, I guess. But that's like, even that was, they've got some really strong imagery in this. And specifically, then there's like another part. This is like way later on in a series where the main character joins up with a small group run by Levi.
Yeah.
And they start to like get, and basically these guys, their job is to make sure that the main character doesn't do anything crazy, because the main character learns out that he can turn into a Titan.
Yeah. And like, when that first happens, we're all like, what the fuck? Like, the Titan that ate him is just like dead. And he's like, and there's this new Titan. And he is just beating the shit out of other Titans. And we're all like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Oh, it's so fantastic. So then they're like, all right, we can either kill him, or we can try and use him to fight Titans. So then they put this group in charge of him, and they're like, all right, if he does anything crazy, just kill him. But you got to train him and teach him to use his Titan powers. So that's Levi and a bunch of his friends. And there's this part where their job during this one mission is to just make sure that the main character doesn't die. And it sounds like a really easy mission, but it's not. Because there's a bunch of dudes go outside of the wall to fight some Titans, and they get surrounded, and it's a bad time. And then there's the first and only female Titan that we've seen ever.
Yep. And
she's a bamf. And she's like punting dudes and using them as yo-yos and stuff. It's crazy. And then she starts chasing after Levi's group. And Levi's like, listen, our job is to keep you safe, so you can't fight. All these other dudes have to fight for you. And he hates that idea. He hates it so much. And the main character, these guys are like, we're the best. How dare you? Like, the main character's like, no, I'm going to help you. And they're like, listen, that's insulting to us. We're the best of the best, and you don't trust us to take on one Titan? And he's like, all right, I believe in you. You guys can do it. And you're like, they do really good at first. and you're like, this is it. This is the first time in the show where we finally see someone who can do damage to these things, and like this is what the high end people look like. And what
Yeah.
happens? They all immediately start getting
They
picked off like
all
flies.
get wrecked.
They all get decimated.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fucking. And then, like, it turns out that they realize that the female Titan isn't a normal Titan. Like, there's characteristics there that are similar to Aaron's Titan. And they're like, this has to be another person who can turn into a Titan. And at this point, we're all like, holy shit.
Oh my god.
What do you mean? Well, turns out it's actually well, I don't know. Well, there are spoilers, so it turns out it's actually
Yeah, spoilers are on and activated.
it turns out it's actually one of the people who he trained with all that time and was friends with all that time, and he has to kill her. They have to fight to the death.
Against the city. She's like this saboteur ninja character.
Yeah.
And that whole time, yeah, she was lying, and he's forced to fight her. And
like,
that's a rad fight. That's awesome.
Yeah. But like the ending of that, it was just like after that fight ended, there's more to the story, and you know there's more to the story because there's things they haven't gone into detail with. There's things that they haven't talked about yet, and the anime ends, and we're all just sitting here like
waiting for the next season.
We're all just like, all right, well, let's get more into that.
Yeah, because they basically set it up. They're like, there's something really, really important that's locked away in your
dad's basement. Yeah.
And they're like, that's what we're gonna do next season. Is we're gonna go after and you don't even know how long it's gonna take them before they actually do that. They've talked about that basement for like how many episodes, and they've never actually gotten a chance to go because bad things keep happening.
Let's talk about the character development a little bit.
Okay.
Because a lot of times anime is really bad with character development.
Right.
Like, a lot of times it's like, bad thing happens, main character somehow gets stronger, beats bad guy.
Yep.
Even stronger bad guy comes along, magically stronger main character beats bad guy. And that's a shonen,
Shonen Jump.
It's a shonen trope. Stuff. Yeah. And like, the one that actually I hear does it really well, other than like, is One Piece. One Piece actually shows them getting stronger instead of, well, now, which I guess would explain why it's like 700 fucking episodes.
See, that sucks though. That I hear. That's the first time that I've actually heard anything good about One Piece. I hear a lot of people going, dude, you should check out One Piece, and I'm like, why? And they're like, cause the main character's funny, and I'm like, no, I tried One Piece, and I hate it. But people keep telling me to watch it, and I'm like, I can't. I just can't. I can't bring myself to do it, because like the premise is just really silly.
Yeah.
And like, I know it's like, oh, it's fantasy or whatever, and it's an animation, and like doesn't need to be realism and stuff. But even in the most fantasy stuff, I like to have a bit of realism involved in it.
Yeah.
Because that gives you a point to look at something, and you can compare and contrast stuff better if you can look at it in realistic light. So like, yeah, Lord of the Rings might have crazy sword battles and magic and stuff, but like there's still a realistic point of view that you need to cover if you don't want people to just laugh at what you're doing.
Yep. But it's weird though, because while you're saying all that, I'm thinking, well, what about Dragon Ball? Because Dragon Ball has nothing realistic about it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's certain parts of Dragon Ball that I like, and then there's other parts that I don't like. I really, really enjoyed old school Dragon Ball Z like Toonami aged Dragon Ball Z. Um, the stuff that I could come home from like elementary school, turn on Toonami, and be like, "Oh yeah, Dragon Ball Z. Oh yeah, Roni Kenshin, Yu Yu Hakusho." Like that was my childhood, and like those era, like pretty much anything before Majin Buu. Um, I was like, all right, yeah, not so, like the Cell stuff got a little bit overboard for me, but they saved it with the ending, I think. Okay, we're completely off Titan now, and we're in Dragon Ball. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm
I
getting
mean, I
back.
guess we're talking about
Yeah,
anime tropes and stuff.
but
The big problem with Dragon Ball Z was that they did that. That was their trope. Because
mhm,
Shonen Jump, that's every single thing that they do. Bleach, uh,
Naruto.
Naruto, Dragon Ball Z. It's always bad guy shows up, good guy either wins or is defeated, and then the good guy suddenly finds this new transformation that he can take on, and then he goes and fights the bad guy again in this new transformation, and he wins, and it's yay, and it's like that gets old, and it's
Yeah,
been done so much. It's such a terrible trope
see,
because that doesn't happen in real life.
right.
Bad things happen to people, and even in like if you now, it's almost a trope to do the exact opposite now. Like if you happen to watch any of like the newer Pokemon stuff, it's the exact opposite. Ash used to be the best,
Yeah, he loses a lot.
the best that no one ever was. It's in the theme, and um, at the beginning of the series, back when I watched it all the time when I was like in school and stuff,
Yeah,
it's like he would win all the time, and he was the best because he was friends with all of his Pokemon, and everyone else just kind of hated them or whatever.
yeah.
Just like
He
punted them
was,
around and stuff.
like when he got his Charmander, it's just some guy like, you fucking
Yeah,
suck, Charmander.
just left it in the woods. This
We
super rare Pokemon that you can't find except for from one guy. He just like this Pokemon just like hanging out, and he's gonna die.
He's like,
I'm
fuck
like,
you,
this thing
Charmander,
is
stay
rare.
here.
This thing is super rare, and you just left it here to die. But it's a
Anyway, we'll come back.
yeah.
We'll do
But
another.
but like it's like later on in the series, it's the exact opposite trope. He now he loses all the time. He never wins. And it's like that gets really tiring. It's like you got to find a good balance of good things and bad things happening to the main characters, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be him losing a fight or whatever.
Like,
Um,
Pokemon's going on like 1,000 some episodes, I think.
yeah, it's a yeah, that's going on for a long time, but it's nice to see Attack on Titan having a nice balance of winning and losing. Uh,
Yeah, uh, the character development in the show as well. Like, they explore the backstory, they show the character growing through that, and they
mhm.
show them like overcoming whatever is like their like for example Mikasa. They show her entire story. Like, he comes over to Aaron's house a lot as a kid or something like that. Or no. Wow, I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong. They know each other.
The internet hates you now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they know each other because they like their families know each other. And like they're supposed to go over to their house or something. And these guys like get there before Aaron and his dad do, and they just murder her parents because they owe her money or they owe them money or something. So Mikasa, instead of getting murdered herself, just takes some. I think she had a knife or something. I'm having a real hard time remembering. But she just fucking stabs the dudes and kills them.
Yeah.
So it's she just
Yeah,
kills these.
the two of them both, they both killed somebody, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Trying to save her because she was kidnapped from this because his dad was the main character's dad was a doctor, and he was going out on like a doctor call.
Yeah.
um, and they went to this house, and it was just filled with dead people, and they were like, oh my god. And the little girl that they have isn't here anymore. We have to find out where she is. And they like, the boy, which is the main character, just way younger, stumbles upon this building that she's in, and all these dudes are like, we kidnapped her and we're gonna sell her for something or whatever their idea was. And there's just a knock at the door, and the guy's like, oh, I'll go see what it is. And he like opens the door and just gets murdered by this kid. Like the
Yeah, that's it. Yep. Okay.
And then the other guys come over and they overpower this kid. And then the dagger is like laying on the ground, and the little girl picks it up. She stabs a guy, and so they kill a bunch of dudes. And then and then the main character's dad's like, "Whoa."
He's just like, "Did you do this?" And he's like, "I guess so, Dad."
He's covered head to toe in blood. He's like, "No."
Yeah. Wow, my memory sucks because I couldn't even like. I remember her murdering people and being captured and stuff. I just didn't remember.
Right. Well, that was a lot. That came out a long time ago.
Yeah,
so our memories may be a little off on some of this stuff, but
yeah, like, and then they show her like, okay, she gets adopted by his family, and they just become really close because one, she thinks she owes him for saving her.
Yeah.
And like that's just the thing through the whole series where she's like, I cannot let him die. And then when
he's gonna go into this guard where he goes outside the wall and fights giant monsters. I need to go with him.
I need to make sure
because
he doesn't
die. If he dies, then I have failed him. And so she ends up being better at stuff than he is because she wants to make sure that he doesn't die.
Yep. And then like when he died, she was just like, what the fuck do I do now?
What do I do with my life? Yeah. She like gave up for a little while.
She was just gonna get eaten there, and I think Armin saved her from getting eaten.
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember.
I know there was an interaction.
There was a part where, oh my god, that was another thing. It was super realistic too. It was and that's what I like about it. It was a realistic problem in a fantasy world. There's this part where there's like 8 of them just sitting on a roof.
Yep.
And I'm like, what are they doing? Why aren't they? There's titans everywhere. They're sitting ducks right now. And like one of the people comes over and they're like, what are you doing? They're like, we're out of canisters. We can't fly anymore. Like they used up all of their all the stuff, all the like, I don't know, it's like canisters of pressurized something or other that shoots the cables. And they were all low. Only like 1 or 2 guys had some left, and they're like, we can't leave our whole group here to just be eaten. So like it ends up being like this crazy thing that like they start adding in like the more of this pressurized canister that you use, the less likely you'll be able to like fly around, and your cables don't shoot out as strong and stuff like that, and you can use more of it to go faster and stuff like that. And like that's what that girl ends up doing. She's like, I have no reason to live anymore. I might as well go out in a blaze of glory and save all these people. So she goes out and she takes out like 3 titans. But because she did that, she was going like she's going like Mach 10.
Yeah.
And all of her canisters blew out, and then she fell, and then she had to try and fight a titan on the ground.
I remember that. Okay.
Which is when they introduced the main character's titan.
Okay, yeah.
And she was like, oh no, I'm so dead. And then he haymakers a titan through a building.
Yeah. And then just like Aaron's character, like when we see him training, he sucks.
Yeah, he's bad. Mm-hmm. And it's not like one of those things in like animes where it's like, he's really bad and he's gonna get better because he has to prove everyone wrong. Nope. Like Naruto.
He just sucks.
Naruto sucked really bad, and then suddenly, like, over the years, he's like, I gotta get better because I gotta prove people wrong. I'm not a monster.
Right.
And then he got kinda better, and then Shippuden happens, and then he's like,
okay, I have to defend Naruto just a little bit because, like, yes, it is the same trope as Dragon Ball Z where he just keeps getting stronger, keeps getting a new transformation, but he also runs into these fights. Like, one of the main fights of Shippuden was the pain fight. in that fight, it got to a point where even in his new form, he was just getting wrecked.
Yeah, well, also in Naruto's defense, that show had a lot of. They took the time to show training,
Yeah.
and like a large point of just regular Naruto when he was a kid. Um, that was a majority of that show was just training,
Yep.
training in school, like until eventually they got to the point where like something really god awful happened and they were forced to do something.
Yeah.
Um, and you can tell like in that show, like it's different in certain shows, where like Avatar, there's this, you can tell by the world that they've made that people don't live as long as they should, and
Yeah.
people mature a lot sooner to the point where it's like you're 13, it's time for you to go and do something with your life.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, these kids are like 12 or whatever, and but you can see that, you can feel the emotion that they feel, and you can see that they're still really naive with all of their choice making and stuff, but they're still like they're learning, and that's always a good thing to do because you never want to just have like that's another huge anime trope. It's like 12-year-old kid is somehow running around and keeping up with like the 30-year-old dude who's been doing this all his life,
Yep.
and they're fighting monsters and like blowing stuff up with their mind and stuff, and you're just like, all right, come on, this kid just learned how to do this like a year ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely like the main character in Titan is bad the whole way through. He never gets good. He's bad the whole time. But like he keeps going because he knows that he has to. And that's a strong character.
Yep.
He doesn't keep going and keep getting stronger.
And that's what I was gonna say about Naruto. Like, a lot of the times he wins, even if he's like in a new form and that form fails, he keeps going because he knows if he doesn't keep going, he doesn't like use his last bit of willpower, he's not gonna win and everybody's gonna die.
Right. And that's great and everything. I think the only reason that I say it's a trope is because it's like, all right, you know that if they want Naruto to win, they just make him do the transformation. And we all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, let him release one of the tails then.
How far into Naruto have you seen or read?
I've gone into Shippuden. I don't know how far I am. I definitely didn't finish it.
Oh, I did.
I got fairly far into it.
The ending really kind of shows like the same kind of tropes, but at the same time you're just like, that's what it's supposed to be. Like, the ending of Naruto left so many people satisfied but still wanting more, which a lot of anime don't do that too well because they'll like cliffhanger ending, or like they'll give you like this, okay, everything wrapped up, the end. Like, they don't really give you the satisfaction of what happens to the characters, or they're just like,
right.
Well, this story's over, the end.
Yeah.
And that's also a common anime trope. And
I like things where it's like in real life it doesn't happen like that. Like, oh no, I'm trying my hardest but I can't win. But I have to win and my willpower is enough.
right.
And it's like, and then they transform into this thing that they didn't train for. They didn't try really hard to get this to happen. This isn't a thing that everyone can do. This is just a thing that they can do specifically. And it's like, all right, great. You're and this is how I tell people why I don't like a lot of animes. Like, I'm a huge anime fan, but a lot of them have this problem. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna get into a spiel real quick. I call it the kid next door syndrome, and basically what that means is, it's as if everyone knows that kid back when they were kids, they would play together, and they would say, "Oh, I have this game, let's play it." and then you go outside and you're like, sweet,
Okay.
let's play this game.
I know.
And then the kid, and you're playing the game with the kid, and he starts to lose his own game, and then he starts changing the rules as the
Yep.
game goes on. And then eventually you beat him so many times that he's like, well, actually, I'm made of diamonds, so I can't die. And you're like, well, then why am I playing this game with you if you always win?
Yep.
It's like, well, I always win because of that. And it's like, well, I can't do anything to stop that from happening, so how do I win? You don't. All right, great. So we're done here. I'm not going to play this with you if I can't win.
Yeah.
And that's what all animes do. They have that problem where they're all written by the kid who wouldn't let you beat him at his game. He grew up and then he wrote anime. Like that's and it's like that. Like there's so many better ways to do it than like it's like that's why I don't like Superman. Superman, they had to write in weaknesses because they were like, oh, he's too good and he's boring now, so let's give him some weaknesses. But the weaknesses are just like, oh, we had to like retcon a few things and like sweep some, oh, there's some stuff that hurts him now, but like it wasn't really ever there, and it's not really that much of a problem. I mean, like, who on earth can get kryptonite?
Alright guys, that's just part 1 of a 2-part Dibblog. If you want to hear part 2, come back in a couple weeks. The next one is all about some E3 speculation, so be sure to join us for that. Alright, well, this is it for me. See ya!